Welcome, and it's time for our news bulletin right here on Luntha TV. And this time you are with me, Patrick Pupa. First, the headlines. Pope Leo encourages young people to use technology responsibly and prioritize human relationships. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika outlines economic agenda, promises to tackle corruption and improve livelihoods. Experts urge new cabinet ministers to prioritize government reforms. And in our special report this week, Robert Edward explores how farmers' traditional wisdom, when merged with extension workers' technical guidance, is helping trees thrive even under harsh conditions. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Pope Leo XIV has challenged students participating in the Jubilee of the World of Education to work for a better society through education, which is one of the most beautiful and powerful tools for changing the world. Continuing the week-long series of events for the Jubilee of the World of Education, Pope Leo XIV met with students in Paul VI Audience Hall on Thursday. He began his address by expressing his joy and anticipation for this event, as it reminded him of all the time he spent teaching mathematics to young students. We have a Vatican News report read by Tanduem Zumara.
The Pope first recorded the example of the recently canonized Italian student, Pier Giorgio Frassati, and two of his mottos, to live without faith is not living but simply getting along, and to the heights. Pope Leo then added his own encouragement to the young students: have the courage to live life to the fullest. He stressed that they should not settle for fads, appearances, or fleeting pleasures. Rather, the Holy Father challenged them to long for something greater. This is the desire of young people who hope and plan for a better society. Therefore, he urged them to strive toward the heights as a beacon of hope. The Holy Father recalled how his predecessor, Pope Francis, began the Global Compact on Education project in 2020, which is dedicated to engaging younger generations in global fraternity. He reminded the students present that they are not simply recipients of education, but its protagonists. For this reason, the Pope urged them to come together for a new season of education where everyone becomes witnesses of truth and peace. But they must not do this alone. He encouraged them to include their friends in the search for truth and the building of peace.
Bishop Alfred Mateo Chaima of the Catholic Diocese of Zomba has applauded St. Matthew's Nankunda Parish for successfully meeting its Mission Month pledge of contributing 5 million kwacha. He made the remarks here today during the crossing of Mission and Rosary Month celebration held at Nankunda Parish. The parishioners had made the pledge during the launch of Mission Month activities on 20 July 2005 and have since fulfilled their commitment in full. Andrew Nandoro has filed a report read by Tanduem Zumara.
Bishop Chaima applauded parishioners for their commitment and dedication to the Church's mission work. He also extended his gratitude to Catholic media houses for their active role in broadcasting and promoting Mission Month activities across the country and beyond. In his remarks, National Pontifical Mission Society's director, Father Ephraim Peter Madea, commended Nankunda Parish for its remarkable effort despite being a small and newly established parish. He urged all Catholics in Malawi to emulate this example by continuing to support the Church's mission through generous contributions. At the conclusion of the celebration, Father Madea announced Pope Leo XIV's 2026 Mission Month theme, One in Christ, United for Wisdom.
President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika has outlined an economic agenda aimed at reviving the country's economy and improving the livelihoods of Malawians. In his address marking the official opening of the second session of Parliament on Friday, Mutharika highlighted the challenges facing the economy, including high inflation, persistent foreign exchange shortages, and a significant increase in national debt. More details in this report, filed by Charita Jiranga.
Mutharika said his administration will address the economic challenges facing the country by, among others, engaging financiers on debt treatment and raise more financing through grants. On food security, President Mutharika announced that his government has procured 200,000 metric tons of maize from Zambia for free distribution to 4 million Malawians. Among other things, he said government will reintroduce the Farm Input Subsidy Program FISEP this farming season, benefiting 1.1 million households to begin in the second week of November, in which farmers will pay 10,000 kwacha for a 50 kg pack of fertilizer and 5 kg seed pack. Mutharika also emphasized the importance of good governance and rule of law, promising to empower the Anti-Corruption Bureau to prosecute corruption cases without fear or favor. He also outlined plans to improve the manufacturing sector, promote economic diplomacy, and increase access to quality health care, as well as education. The president also made other key announcements, including reforms to the Constituency Development Fund, allocating 5 billion kwacha annually to every constituency, alongside 100 million kwacha each for youth and women's business loans. He further announced the reintroduction of passport printing in all regions, with a new high-capacity machine set to produce up to 500 passports daily, a move expected to reduce long queues at immigration offices.
1 billion in 2020 to the current 2.4 trillion. Similarly, as of 2025, total public debt has reached 1.6 trillion from 21.6 trillion from 4.1 trillion in 2020, underscoring mounting fiscal pressures, long-term sustainability concerns. My administration, Mr. Speaker, sir, has already started taking steps to deal with the prevailing and desirable situation by encouraging financials on debt treatment and raising more financing through grants, among others. Food security. Mr. Speaker, sir, my vision of food security remains that no Malawian dies of hunger.
The first sitting in the first meeting of the session will start on Wednesday, November 5th, and will run until December 5th, 2025.
African Issue Development Policy AFIDEP Executive Director Dr. Elias Zulu has held the President's address, describing it as a timely call to prioritize economic recovery and restore professionalism in the civil service, saying these are key to driving involvement and improving people's well-being. Malawi Council of Churches President Bide Gama praised the President's speech as a brief but meaningful, urging swift action on corruption and the shortages of fertilizer, fuel, and forex to meet people's expectations. Both Dr. Zulu and Rev. Gama were speaking at Parliament Building in Lilongwe on Friday, 31st October 2025, during the President's national address, marking the official opening of Parliament. More in our report, filed by Gift Kalonga.
After President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika delivered his national address, various stakeholders and organizations responded, urging him to implement the points outlined in his speech. Speaking with Luntha News Executive Director of AFIDEP, Dr. Elias Zulu said the President made a right point that the economy must be prioritized for overall national development. While democracy in Malawi has been functioning, Zulu noted it has not translated into improved well-being for citizens. For well-being to improve, the focus has to be on the economy and making it work. Dr. Zulu also said that in his speech, President Peter Mutharika addressed key economic challenges, including foreign exchange management, intermittent electricity supply, and creating an enabling environment for the private sector, which Zulu described as the engine that drives the economy. He also stressed the need to restore integrity and professionalism within the civil service, noting that Government policies can only succeed if the civil service functions efficiently. Zulu further welcomed the decision to increase the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to 5 billion kwacha, emphasizing that proper monitoring and evidence-based interventions are essential to ensure the funds deliver tangible development outcomes.
I think the president has set the right tone. I think the line that I got from his speech was the statement that if we get the economy right, we'll get everything right. Democracy has been working well in Malawi, but it hasn't resulted in improved well-being. So for the well-being to improve now, the focus has to be on the economy. How do we make the economy work? And in his speech, he said a few things as well that speak to that.
President of the Malawi Council of Churches, Reverend Professor Billy Gama, has commended the president for delivering a speech of substance and urged the government to act decisively on the promises made. Gama highlighted the need to tackle corruption and address shortages of fertilizer, fuel, and foreign exchange, warning that failure to implement the promises could reverse progress in the country.
You know, it has been a very challenging situation in Malawi to see people sleeping at the immigration, just waiting for their passports. But not only that, some people even paying for the express one, but they stay over 4 months without getting their passport. That has been a bad situation for the society, and the president has just mentioned that. Our prayer as Malawi Council of Churches is, yes, he has mentioned it, but it must be done.
Both experts and faith leaders stress that Malawi's development now hinges on translating the president's words into concrete actions that directly benefit citizens. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Experts from health, security and legal sector have welcomed the appointment of Malawi's new cabinet, calling on the administration to focus on reforms and enhance governance, accountability and service delivery. They have expressed optimism that the new ministers have the potential to drive meaningful change, but there is a need for professionalism, transparency and cross-ministerial collaboration to deliver tangible results for Malawians. Judith Ogan has filed this report.
Health expert George Jobe, who heads the Malawi Health Equity Network, MAN, has commended the appointments of Health Minister Madaliso Baloyi and Deputy Minister Chimwemwe Chipungu, saying the two bring renewed energy to the health sector. Jobe has highlighted the need to establish a national health fund to safeguard health financing and ensure that funds benefit citizens. He has also urged close collaboration between the Ministries of Health, Finance and Public Works, noting that good roads and reliable funding are vital for quality healthcare delivery.
Establishment of the National Health Fund, which Malawi Health Equity Network advocated for almost 3 years, that we should have this fund so that whatever revenue is collected for the health sector must be protected in this fund to serve the intended purpose. So we expect the Minister of Health that she will work with the Minister of Finance and have this National Health Fund established the soonest they can.
Security expert Dr. Sharif Kaisi said the appointment of a new Minister for Homeland Security is crucial for strengthening law enforcement and safeguarding human rights. He said the minister's experience in the Malawi Police Service provides a strong foundation, but leadership in the ministry now requires political maturity and respect for democracy. Kaisi has urged the new minister to uphold freedom of expression and peaceful assembly, stressing that respecting citizens' rights is key to maintaining public trust.
I think it's one such a ministry that would definitely need a background information and professionalism of that particular individual heading that institution. And in this case, in Malawi, we have a new minister who has been just appointed by the president.
Lawyer and National Advocacy Platform NAP Chairperson Benedicto Kondowe has called on Justice Minister Charles Mahango to prioritize the fight against corruption and restore confidence in the justice system. He said Mahango's experience as a former Attorney General positions him well to strengthen rule of law and promote efficiency in public institutions. Kondowe has since urged the ministry to ensure timely prosecution of corruption cases and fair payment of court-ordered damages, saying justice must be applied equally to all.
Our view is that Honorable Charles Mahango is a respected member of the law profession, essentially having previously served as the Attorney General, and therefore is someone who is well versed with the law, and we believe that he is fit to serve in that office. He is also one of the most dedicated members of the Democratic Progressive Party.
The cabinet has 24 members, that is including the president and 2 vice presidents. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Organ.
Malawi is estimated to be losing about $58 million every year through cross-border tax abuse by multinational corporations. Stakeholders in civil society and economic governance sectors say the losses could be significantly reduced if Malawi joins the proposed United Nations Tax Convention, which aims to promote fair and transparent international tax system. The platform is expected to give developing countries like Malawi a stronger voice in shaping global tax rules and ensuring that multinational companies pay their fair share. Sam Kalimba attended the National Conference on Taxation and has more in this report.
The Norwegian Church Aid and Dan Church Aid Malawi supported a 2-day national engagement between the government of Malawi and the civil society on tax justice and the United Nations Tax Convention, aimed at developing a roadmap towards Malawi's involvement in a global discussion on tax. According to experts, domestic resources mobilization has the potential to reduce public debt, which is critical to growth of the economy. However, any plans put in place to fast-track the economy may be jeopardized by the influence of the UN Tax Convention if Malawi is left out. Mwai Sandramu is the NCADCA Fighting Inequalities Program lead, who argues that Malawi has been missing on the global scene.
But also to share with stakeholders of what is happening globally. Right now, all nations across the globe are at the UN negotiating terms of reference from a convention on taxation. So we noticed as Norwegian Church that participation of Malawi, both as government, both as civil society, in these discussions is very weak. That is why we thought, through our partners, Majin and EM, to convene a multi-stakeholder meeting, which will raise awareness on these issues of taxation, on the issues of the UN tax convention, and also to understand why government is failing to collect taxes. So today's meeting was more of an awareness, but also a preparation for our contribution at the UN Tax Convention.
Malawi Economic Justice Network, Majin, is implementing a program on fighting inequalities together with the Evangelical Association of Malawi and augments the cry over Malawi's silence on the matter. Mike Marvin Banda is the programs manager at Majin.
The government is implementing, we are implementing. At the same time, we are also looking at taking this opportunity to consolidate key issues for Malawi, because much as our government is not participating, but through this project, non-government organizations through the FI project have mobilized themselves to participate in the negotiations. So we took advantage of this gathering to also understand what are the key issues so that we consolidate a national position, that when we are there, we are able to present issues as a consolidated paper for Malawi. so that our participation is structured in a way that it is speaking to the issues that we are struggling with as Malawi.
Checking on whether the country is making strides in achieving the Malawi Implementation Plan, MIP-1 of the Malawi 2063, using the current Domestic Resources Mobilization Strategy, one is shocked to learn that only 4% progress is made 5 years before the span of the MIP-1 expires. Dr. Andrew Jamali is the head of research and capacity building at the National Planning Commission, who says most indicators are off track.
Government cannot listen if whatever is coming from the civil society is not well researched, is not proven and tested, because we as government do not want just to do things without a proper justification and a proper confidence that they will work to achieve the milestones or the targets that we're looking for. So we would really want to strengthen the engagement between government and civil society, where there's going to be information sharing, but also candid conversations on how we can advance the development agenda of this country.
The Domestic Resources Mobilization Strategy, DRMS, is due for review, paving way for a new strategy in Malawi. Sam Kalimba, reporting for Luntha TV.
The Malawi Congress of Trade Union MCTU says it is hopeful that the new administration will prioritize its request to raise the minimum wage for workers across the country. MCTU chairperson Charles Kumchenga says the cost of living has risen sharply, making it difficult for many Malawians to meet their daily needs. He said this justifies the union's demand for a wage review. Emmanuel Chocha reports.
In an interview, Kumchenga explained that over the past 4 years, Malawians have struggled due to the continuous devaluation of the kwacha, which has led to higher prices of basic goods and services. He added that the current wages no longer match the economic realities on the ground, making it hard for ordinary workers to sustain their families despite working full-time.
I think he has been following all these issues. We started some time back, and we started with less than 100%. So we came up to 100% just looking at the cost of living market, and we demanded the 100% increase in terms of minimum wage. So that's what we proposed to the government by that time.
Commenting on the development, Labour expert Robert Nkwezalamba supported MCTU's stand, saying the union demand is in line with the labour laws. He added that the newly appointed Minister of Labour, Skilled and Innovation, Joel Chingona, will handle the matter well, since he once served as a member of MCTU.
Well, I think Malawi Congress of Trade Unions, they are within their mandate and entitled to make demands, and more importantly, to call on government to consider revising the minimum wage upwards, considering that the cost of living has gone up. Everyone will be most willing and ready to support that call. Given that we now have a new Minister of Labour, what will be essential will be for the Ministry of Labour to open up to...
Nkwezalamba appealed for constructive dialogue between the Minister of Labour and MCTU, emphasizing the meaningful engagement would help to strike a balance between workers' welfare and employers' capacity to pay. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Chocha.
In international news, a group of gospel musicians known as Heritage Sounds has organized a double audio and video album launch to be held on Sunday, 2nd November 2005 at Bingu International Convention Center, BICC, in Lilongwe. Speaking to Luntha TV, the album launch is internal chairperson Griffin Somola confirmed that all preparations are complete and has urged Malawians to attend in large numbers. The album, titled Mafunde, marks a significant milestone for the group. Somola explains.
Mafunde panyanja kalipa mbuye watu mulijikondi mbuye muzaongola Zanjalanu lilontoza mafunde banyanja hii.
That's a good question. We have prepared so far, but we have prepared everything that's in position. We have managed to gather a lot of different things to put them together so that we can manage to do this function without having any issues. We have invited the Adventist brothers from Zambia with their Itso Matalala. In Malawi, we have the Celebs, we have Advent, we have Pastor Dave Chwaya from Luntha, and then we have the Chronicles in Ramadan, Sewa Future Ammo. Their standard tickets, selling standard tickets are 8,000 kwacha, and at the door, 10,000 kwacha. VIP tickets, 20,000 kwacha. We are inviting all Malawians to attend this big function. We're inviting them that they are supposed to support us as a small group. We need their support to support us.
With Malawi targeting the restoration of 4.5 million hectares of degraded and deforested land by 2030, communities are now combining technical expertise with indigenous knowledge to improve tree survival rates. In Mzimba district, the scorching heat and dry conditions are no longer an excuse for tree loss, thanks to what farmers call their local magic. In this week's exclusive report, Robert Edward explores how farmers' traditional wisdom, when merged with extension workers' technical guidance, is helping tree thrive even under harsh conditions.
With Global Forest Watch estimating Malawi's tree cover loss at 65% in 2 decades, Malawi government's 2030 target chase saw the planting of 50 million trees in 2024-2025 tree planting season, whose survival rate has been purged at around 60%. In Mzimba district, communities have mastered a magic of taking care of the planted trees under the Global Evergreen Alliance Restore Africa project. Planted trees flourishes even in the face of potential livestock damage. In Malawulira village, T.A. Chindi in the district, William Chiwaka, a village champion, reveals the secret behind trees' survival in the dry season, coupled with free grazing livestock rearing.
Panopo kuyenda bwino poyamba ndikoza kunena kuti azilangiza nali wocheperapo zina sitimaziziwa monga ngati kumbali ya mitengo nkhani yosamalira mitengo sitimaziwa zinthu zambiri koma panopo zili bwinobwino ndikuona kuti musogolomu zambiri zikhala zosavuta taphunzitsidwa kudzala mitengo kutenga mbewu mitengo yomwe ikuoneka kuti ndiyovuta kupeza mbewu koma panopo taphunzira ndiye kuti mitengo yambiri imene ikoza kuoneka kuti ikoza kusowa panopo ife tiwonjezera taphunzitsidwa kapezedwe ka mbewu kupanga treat ma seeds aja tingayike bwanji pa nazale tingayichose bwanji nthawi zanji kupitaso kumunda kuyidzala kumene kucha mitengo imene tikunena apa yachilengedwe ichi kupangaso bwinobwino ndiye kuti tiwonjezera mitengo yambiri.
Now, it is not just any tree. The species are carefully selected. As explained by Amoni Chiwaka, he sees restoration of his land to former fertile glory with Nsangu and sustainable access of tree wood from Ntangatanga.
Ndowa izo kugwirisikira pa makanya makuni aya pakupanda ngasazika ko manyowa kuma udongo ilo ndapachanya ngasazika ku manyowa then dongo la pasi ngasazika ku chichosi cha then la pachanya lya ngasazika ku manyowa lira ndo nkhayamba kuundira pasi mkati mkhululu kweni kukondi kufikira misisi ya kunyiri leka nimuone panji kuti kunyiri lake lili kukula kuti.
Climate change, food insecurity and walking long distances to fetch firewood is a price that women pay due to the deforestation, and in Mzimba, women understands this fact with action. In Miringojeli village, T.A. Mbera of Mzimba district, a wife to Lamek Mazonga, has been described as the brain behind this yet another science for the survival of these 400 trees in this hot and dry season. With support from his wife, Lamek understood the magic and explains it to me.
Tatamara kupanda ama mariteuri tikatoa majembe tikamba kulimirira kuvutirira mwezi kwa livili tamara hapo kuvutirira tisitenge mbuni so vura imbuzi zinandi ku teteme mintavi tizindemo baki makuni tangaita viji yangasungika hadi tikatema makuni utengere huko hadi tatema kupatilia makuni.
These trees are part of the 9 million trees planted out of the 22 million target of the Global Evergreen Alliance Restore Africa project in Malawi, being implemented by Catholic Relief Services with its 6 implementing partners, with an aim to improve landscape and resilience to climate shocks among smallholder farmers and communities, resulting in livelihood uplifting. Chief of Party for the project, Jonathan Thomas, says it is encouraging to see women taking a leading role in land restoration efforts as they are heavily impacted with effects of deforestation and climate change.
So we've been very happy with the uptake of the project. We have a target to reach 220,000 farmers by the end of the initial phase of the project in 2027. After 1 year of active recruitment, we're already about halfway there. We're also very happy that about 70% of the farmers who've signed up are women. We're working in 7 different districts, and we've seen this across the 7 districts. It's keen understanding that climate change is really real, it's impacting their lives, it's impacting their livelihoods, and that planting of trees is one way in which they can help to address this by incorporating trees into their...
Interestingly, trees planted under the project have carbon credits benefits, and the Chiwaka brothers and Mazonga family are part of the 67,000 farmers in the 7 districts where the project is being implemented.
Many thanks to Robert Edward for giving us that report. With that story, we have come to the end of our news bulletin right here on Luntha TV. But before I go, top stories once again. Pope Leo encourages young people to use technology responsibly and prioritize human relationships. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika outlines economic agenda, promises to tackle corruption and improve livelihoods. Experts urge new cabinet ministers to prioritize government reforms. And in our special report this week, Robert Edward explores how farmers' traditional wisdom, when merged with extension workers' technical guidance, is helping trees thrive even under harsh conditions. Thanks for watching, and this has been Patrick Pupa, and I wish you a lovely time. Keep watching Luntha TV, and bye for now.